Okay, so in this packet that I have given to you in class, and you're also supposed to be using online, we have the facial bones, you have the anatomy of compact bone, the osteon that you should be able to label. I'll go through this very quickly. So this says ring, so that would be lamellae. That's lamellae lane. The central canal is the Haversian canal. Number 3 is pointing to this connective tissue sheath that's being peeled off out here. That would be the periosteum. And you do have a word bank down here for this, okay? Number 4 is pointing to, here you have the Haversian canals going up and down. This is connecting one Haversian canal to another, and so that would be the Volksmann or perforating canal. Then we get to number 5. Number 5 is mentioning the structure of spongy bone in here. So that would be the trabeculae. Number 6. Where's my number 6? That is pointing to the little wires here. Sorry if you can't see. That is pointing to the little wires here that are connecting these cells. And so that would be the canaliculi. Number 7 is saying it's the space. So that would be the lacunae. And number 8 is saying it's the cell. And so that would be the osteocyte. So you should be pretty good with the osteon. Okay, looking at the skeleton. Okay. Things that are always missed are the bones over here. So let's start with this one. So this would be frontal. It's pointing to that frontal singular bone right here. This is pointing to the mandible. Number 3 is coming across here, and it's pointing to your collarbone, which is your clavicle. Number 4 is pointing to this right here, which is your sternum. Number 5 is pointing to your humerus. Spelt differently than Miss Giro is so humorous. 6, you can just say ribs. You could say ribs or you could say rib cage, totally fine. I'm just looking collectively, what is this right here? 7, same thing. You can just say vertebrae. You could say spinal column. I don't care what you say for 7 as long as it's like vertebrae, spine. Okay, you don't have to say anything more specific than that. 8, pelvis. So pelvis, okay. So we know that the pelvis is made up of 2 coxal bones put together. You just have to put pelvis here for this. But I just want to go down here and talk about the pelvis for a second. So the pelvis is 2 coxal bones put together, and each one of those coxal bones are made up of 3 bones, which are the ilium, the ischium, and the pubis. Okay. For the ribs, let me talk about the ribs for a second. We have 12 pairs of ribs. Pairs 1 through 7 are called true ribs because they articulate directly with the sternum. Let me go up here because they articulate directly with the sternum. Pairs 8, 9, and 10, they are going to be called false ribs because they only articulate with the sternum via the cartilage of the 7th rib. So here's 8, 9, and 10. And then pairs 11 and 12, we call those are floating ribs. They do not connect with the sternum at all. The spine. So the spine is made up of 26 bones in the adult spine. 33, so spine. 33 in the fetal skeleton. The first 7 are called cervical. You eat breakfast at 7. The next 12 are called thoracic. You have lunch at noon. The next 5 are lumbar. You have dinner at 5. And then the next 2 sections are the sacrum. So that would be here. And the coccyx. And they collectively are 9. They're 2 individual bones. So that's how we would get up to 24 if we counted 7, 12, and 5. 12 and 12, 24. And then 26, 25, 26. You have a snack at 9. Breakfast at 7, lunch at noon, dinner at 5, snack at 9. That's how I remember the bones of the spine. Okay, let me go back to this. Okay, so we had ribs, vertebrae or spine, pelvis. Let's go to 9 here. 9 is pointing to the lateral forearm bone, which is the radius. 10, the medial forearm bone, ulna. Let's see, 11 is pointing to the wrist, carpals. 12, metacarpals. 13 is pointing to the phalanges collectively, and there are 14 phalanges in each extremity. 14 is pointing to the femur. That's the thigh bone. 15 is pointing to the patella. Make sure I can see this here. Patella. 16 is pointing to the medial, the tubby bone, the tubby tibia. 17 is pointing to this little bone, which is the fibula, little lateral bone. Fibula. 18 is pointing to the ankle, tarsals. 19, foot, metatarsals. And then 20 is pointing to the toes, again, the phalanges. And you have 14 in each extremity.